The AI community was greeted with a lot of new news and a lot of updates. One big one was from the Google's workspace. If you have a Google workspace, now it can support AI. And then we had GPT-4, which is a completely breathtaking new innovation. And then Midjourney's version 5, which is what I'm going to be talking about today. In their office hours on Discord, they gave 3.5 hours of discussion and some important things that they mentioned and some quick tips and highlights. And there were a couple of things which I want to mention about. Some really key highlights and some key important points. They have introduced what is known as the Midjourney magazine. So it's mag.midjourney.com. And then you will get to here. For the first month, it is free, but you have to put a promo code. So if you click on the Get the Magazine, where there is add promotion code, if you add the word subscriber, it's going to be free for you the first month. And then it's $4 a month. So that's something nice to see if you're looking for the new community to understand and learn about it. It's also a new way to actually see some nice work being done in the community. A magazine that's made by Midjourney. So that was an important launch that they have given. So that was one big announcement. We can already see some things. So that is really interesting. Monthly inspirations in your mailbox. So if you're interested, go ahead and get that because the number of magazines are limited. That's what they have been saying. So do try to get your hands on one of them. The next big update, the Midjourney version 5 is only for paying members. So if you're currently on a free trial, you won't be getting Midjourney's version 5 because Midjourney did not have the computational power to allow everybody to have access to this new version. So if you want to actually try using this, you would need to be on one of the premium plans of Midjourney to be able to use this version 5. And now let's just see exactly Midjourney's version 5 in action and how we can actually access it and use it. The first thing you would need is to have the Midjourney bot on your server. You can click on create a channel and I'm going to say version 5. Then you want to invite the bot into this channel. So I'm going to click on invite, create a channel. First things first, we want to go ahead and see our settings. So I'm going to click on settings and directly we can see that there is no suffix. So you can actually just use the word --V5 as the suffix. But in this example, you can already see in my settings that I have it in version 5. So for you to actually see that, just press on /settings and then you should be able to see it. If it's not there, then you can always put it at the end. So if we go down to the prompts FAQs, there is a section here which is the what is version 5 and how do I use version 5. And we can actually learn a lot of things from here. Like for instance, if you are looking at the resolutions now, they are improved resolutions. And what does that mean? Well, for one, you can see the improved quality is not going to cost us in the GPU because the upscale is already pre-upscaled when you are in the variations. So that's something really nice to keep in mind. And also they don't have version 5 for relaxed mode. They have only kept it for the fast mode as of recording this video. Now we have the 4 images, but when I click on upscale, it's almost instantaneous. So that's what it means by improved resolution. All the images with version 5 are at their maximum resolution. And we can clearly see that. And the images in themselves are really photographic. And that's the next point that we have now is more photo quality images. The images you will note with the prompts designed to look more photographic and will look like photographs. In fact, the system default is more photographic. To see images that look more like art than photographs, prompt for art names or art styles media, plus add stylize 1000 to the end of the prompt. So now you need to push further away in order to deter from being just photographs. So that's something interesting. I'm going to try that. I'm going to go and see how far we can deter. So they said stylize 1000. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take the same prompt. Using the stylize 1000, we can clearly see that the images are more artistic. So if you want to get more artistic images and don't want to just get photographic images, you can actually use --stylize 1000. And the same goes for this one as well. Images always are going to be upscaled at maximum resolution directly from the get-go. So the minute you see your images are in the 4, when you click on the upscale, they are max upscaled already. So they're kind of like pre-upscaled as mentioned over here. We can clearly see over here. Like the minute I click over there, it's almost instantaneous. That's something that we did not have for version 4. And the next thing which we are going to be talking about is the improved coherency, as they have said it right over here. In version 5, you will notice fewer chaos blocks, faces, and hands are dramatically improved. That's something that I really want to see how it looks. We're going to go ahead and we're going to be just saying a pair of perfectly beautiful hands. Now, as we can see, the image of this hands are just perfect. So, like they said, the coherence and the hands look really nice because all the fingers are there, exactly how we have our fingers. And then even with the smile, now we have way better teeth, because I remember when we used to do prompts before, we used to have really terrible teeth, or we used to have difficulty with them sometimes. But now we have really nice teeth and the expression's also nice. So that's something that has been improved on. And now, broader aspect ratios. You can now create much broader aspect ratios and narrower canvases. Try any aspect ratios that you like. I'm gonna do something which is gonna be a galaxy of stars in deep space as an illustration for a children's book. Notice how I am writing almost like a sentence and no commas or colons. Like I was mentioning, the new ChatGPT's natural language processing prompts will benefit even more from being written in the form of sentences rather than lists. Writing like you learned in school. For example, an astronaut floating in air in outer space may produce more predictable results than astronaut floating outer in space. So everything that we've done so far with version 4 probably is not going to work as well in order for us to get a result. And which is why I am adding this like this. And then I'm going to add the aspect ratio to be aspect ratio of 1:10. Because now we can add any kind of aspect ratio. So you can make it super thin. You can make it billboard size. There is no limits. We don't have a specific canvas to contain ourselves in. That is amazing. As we can see, these are super thin images, and if I upscale one of them, but now you can see that exactly as I mentioned, and exactly also as they had mentioned, that using it more in a sentence structure would help benefit us. It can clearly be seen in this example as well. I used a sentence-like structure without any commas, and the result is pretty accurate. We can also see the entire thing over here. And this is the maximum resolution that you can get. So now you can go crazy with the amounts of aspect ratio or the dimensions that you want to work with. So that is something that we can keep into consideration. Next up, if you are going to be using terms like an 8K Octane render, so let's say I'm going to be putting a portrait of a woman sitting on a bench having a coffee. But then if you use the word 8K render, Octane render, what Midjourney has said is that those kind of things are not going to help, rather they're going to deter us. So it's not going to be as photographic. Clearly using the terms Octane render, 3D render does not give you photographic images, as Midjourney's version 5 defaults to photographic if you don't emphasize on it. Like, I didn't emphasize on the other one, and we can see these images are already photographic. And they're actually quite nice, these images. Improved remixes. So they say that in version 5, the remix feature is more accurate and powerful. And we're going to put it to the test. I'm going to be taking 2 images, and I'm going to remix them for version 4 and version 5. Now, one thing before that, you want to remove the suffix. So in order to remove the suffix, what you can do is click on Midjourney's version 4, and that removes the suffix. So for my blending, I'm going to be taking 2 images and I'm going to be putting it over here. And the first one I'm doing it is in version 4, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing in version 5. The sources and the links of the people who created these images will be in the description below. Now this is the version 4, and then this is the version 5 one. As we can see, The version 5 really was able to mesh it together. I'm going to take one of them and I'm going to upscale them. And even for version 4, you could say it's there, but the image quality has reduced. As opposed to version 5, the image quality is there and they even added more zest to it. They added a completely different color, but they added more zest to it. Overall, the remix has definitely been fine-tuned in this new version 5, as they have also mentioned. I'm going to try another one, which they have specifically also said was the image weight. Image weights have now come back. You can actually increase its influence and image weight with the image weight from 0.5 to 2. So I'm going to do the same exact thing. Again, the image description for who actually took the image is going to be in the description below. I have taken these images for the remix and for this image weight reference from Pexels. So you can also check out the creator of these images in the description below. I'm going to take this person's image and I'm going to copy the link. First, I'm going to always check my settings because since I have been switching between both of them, I want to make sure that I'm in version 5. So now I'm in version 5 and then I'm going to go back here. Since I had the link set, then I'm going to say, since she's already there, I'm going to say as a fashion model in a studio with cinematic lighting, sitting, looking fabulous. Again, I'm using natural language processing. That's exactly what they have also mentioned, and that is how we should be using in order to get more photographic and photorealistic images for version 5. So with that, I'm going to add -- image weight. They said from 0.5 to 2. So I'm going to do one with image weight 0.5. Now with the image weights, I have done all the different variations of the image weights. So this one is for the image weight 0.5, where I said a fashion model in a studio with cinematic lighting, sitting and looking fabulous. So this was with 0.5. So that's lesser of an image weight. So we're not giving that emphasis on the image itself. So that's why the model, specifically the person, is looking a lot different. There's a lot of variations there. Now we are starting to see more resemblance, especially with the fourth image right here. When I added the image weight to 1, closer to the image that we had of the model from the reference image. The other images are a little bit still of a variation, but we still have it close to the image of the reference, getting there with image weight of 1. With image weight 1.5, most of the images are getting the hairstyle and the look of the image reference to our image, which is really interesting, and it's removing and it's almost reducing all the other elements of the text prompt. So that is something interesting because it's making it more minimal, but it's focusing more on the model now. And with the image weight 2, I think image number 1 and image number 4, even 3, actually 1, 2, and 4 are really similar, almost as similar like a twin or a cousin to the reference image. However, the background is completely changed. So image weight does have a lot of difference this time. So when we are putting in the image weight and even slightly tweaking it, it can have a real difference between what can be with 0.5 or with what is with 2, and it can really dramatically change how you want to navigate your the direction of the prompt. Next thing that was really interesting that they discussed in the announcements was the support for tile, seamless styling. They're still saying it's experimental, and also to note that the aspect ratio that we just now mentioned a while back is also experimental. So we saw the support for the image weight and we also saw the aspect ratio. I'm going to actually show you what tiling can do. Pixel art work of a city in the night. This right over here is a tile, and I'm going to take one of them and I'm going to show you exactly how this could work. Apparently this should be seamless. Now to check that the file is actually a seamless tile, I have this link, and I'm going to put the link down in the description, as well as the link to where you can also check it yourself if you have done a tile for yourself. So this is the link right here. Once I click on that link, it takes me to this page. Here is where I'm going to click on choose file. Once I click on the file, then I'm just going to click on where my file is located. And that's the exact file that we had used. So this is the file that I selected from our Midjourney's image, which is the version 5 of a tile image of the night city pixel in pixels. So I'm going to be doing 4x4 number, attach the size of the original image, and standard quality is going to be, I'm going to make it 100 and then okay. And then you can open and see it for yourself. As you can see, it is really hard to see the seams between the tile. They have done a fantastic job in making it a seamless tile. So that is a big feature with this one. Tile is available for versions 2, 3, and 5. So you can see that it is seamlessly been going through all together. So it looks like one beautiful long, like a wallpaper. Now, of the many things that they do have, and as we have mentioned, that has been an accomplishment, one thing that has not been done yet, as they've also mentioned here, there is no changes to the text and it still looks like the garbage text that we know. Unless you are in ThinSponge or Dwick, I don't think these texts are legible. But one thing I do want to appreciate is that they have actually given us pretty accurate typefaces. That is something that I have not seen being mentioned and which I want to really mention, because this does look like a highway sign. So that's really nice. You will still need to work on Canva or Photoshop to edit the text, because obviously this ThinSponge is probably not a place anywhere in the world, but that's exactly what they have mentioned. So text is still having an issue, and even text copy on a magazine or in terms of a newspaper looks like a magazine or a newspaper, but obviously you don't have something like a pacer in this, unless that is something that you're looking for. But in general, the overall typeface and the types that they're trying to emulate look really nice for version 5, even if the text does not look like it's legible or understandable. You can actually understand what kind of a mood they want to get using the typefaces that they're trying to use. So that's something that's really nice. Now, when you go to Midjourney, you want to first go to your top, because these are the ones that are suggested to be the best rated ones. Take the older ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the filter and I'm going to go back just a month. So today we are in March. I'm going to go back February and I'm going to go February 16th. And I'm going to take this image right here. So this image is a heavy clouds, lightning, and tornado. We might have to change that a little bit. So I'm going to copy this, the full command, and I'm going to be putting this running for both the versions. So now I'm going to begin removing the version 5. So it's going to be version 4 again. So you're going to click on version 4 to remove it. And then what I'm going to do is go with --V4. And then to include it in version 5, I'm going to do the same exact thing. And then --V5. Now we can clearly see how these two are going to be looking. So version 4, the images look artistic and dramatic and have that drama. But clearly version 5 looks like images that were taken. Again, as they have also mentioned, that Midjourney version 5, if written properly, is going to be more photographic. However, one thing I also want to note that this, I directly copied the prompt from Midjourney's version 4. So it still looks illustrative. Now, in order to change that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the exact same thing for version 5 and I'm going to make it so that it is not in commas, but more like a sentence. So this is how it's going to read. And then what happens is I remove everything else that we had from the previous one. So then this makes it exactly how we were looking at, which was keeping in conjunction with the natural language processing. Has to be exactly like how you would tell a small 5-year-old or a kid. It has to be basic language, but it needs to be in a sentence structure. So I broke it down and I made it into a sentence structure, and now I'm going to put it back on. Using natural language is showing a lot of difference, where we can actually see that when I had, well, this is version 4, but even when we go back to version 5 and when we see this is photographic but still illustrative, and I had it in the structure which was version 4 compatible. It is still working with version 5, but if you add a sentence structure, the images actually look more photographic. However, some of them here also look a little bit painterly. Again, it's about the quality of the prompts. It's also what they have mentioned and how richly you can add more to it. So the more you can add to the prompts, it would be better. Otherwise, like for this specific example, the clouds specifically, I wouldn't say they look like clouds really, because they do look like a shade of paint. The roads look more photographic. So you need to obviously play more with it, but this version 5 is more heavy-handed to photography and the photographic style. So if you want to have that as a default, just write basic prompts and you can get there. But if you want to deter from that, then you obviously want to stylize. As I have mentioned earlier, you want to stylize. That being said, I want to also see how it works with emojis. So I know version 4 had emojis, and I'm going to actually remove the settings again. So we don't have that. So that's good. So I'm going to actually now go ahead and I'm going to do an emoji and add a couple of emojis. So I'm going to put crying laughing face, because it's been such an ecstatic week for the AI community. I'm going to put in heart shape, and I'm going to put rainbows, because it's been a really colorful week all over for AI. So I want to see what it can be done for both of them. And then I'm going to do the same thing with version 5. It's a very interesting result with version 4. I'm getting a parrot. It's all over the place, basically. A dog sitting in a bowl, a blue whale that's looking... It's surreal, it's abstract, but it's also... It's many things, but it has the incorporation of the rainbow. There's also a tiny little dog here. There is a little bit of an anomaly going over there, but obviously there is a lot of things going on this one. Now with version 5, it's surprising to see that they're adding more images of people with the exact same 3 emojis. The randomness is still there, but it almost looks like a part of the same scene. So as if all the 4 images are a part of the same scene. As opposed to version 4, looks like it's completely 4 abstract concepts. One having a child with a big parrot, one having a dog on a bowl, one having a blue whale or a whale, and another one a parrot sitting in a cave. But for version 5, it definitely has 4 different images with diverse looking people, and the clothings are also there. So I didn't mention anything, it's just 3 emojis. Where version 4 is more artistic, version 5 in general, as they have also mentioned, is more heavy-handed to a photographic default. So if there is no opinions, or if there is no parameters, or if there is no prompts, and if there is just emojis or something that's universal, it's going to stick to a more photographic approach, as we can see over here. And another key take that I've also mentioned before in this video is that you want to avoid using the terms like 8K render or Octane render. And now the biggest takeaway. So what is the most important thing of version 5? And the biggest, most important difference is that to generate something other than a photographic image, you will need to reference art movements, artistic techniques, genres, media types, game titles, directors, artist names, influences, time periods, etc. to invoke the aesthetic style of an image, and try referencing 2 or more of these. Like art movement, identifying the art movement in the prompt will introduce its style and techniques. Example is like Impressionism, Surrealism, or pop art. And media type, same way, like illustrations and comic art. Media could be like Spirited Away, or from The Wizard of Oz, or Sid Meier's Civilization. Or artist names like Van Gogh or Frida Kahlo or Banksy. Or techniques like impasto, pencil sketch. Time periods. So when you would again specify those in natural language processing sentence structure, I think that is when you can get a really truly unique image that is not as default to V5, and eventually you can also build your own style from that. So that was, in a nutshell, it was 3.5 hours of office hour, and I condensed it down to however long this video is, and that is the beginning of Midjourney's version 5. So you can go ahead, if you're a paid member, to enjoy and try and test it out with all different variations and prompts and see how it looks. The future of Midjourney and AI looks so exciting. With all that said, if you're interested in all topics about AI and the future of AI as a creator, from a creator, you can actually visit my newsletter, that is sirzion.substack. Work that I put up every week, either on Sundays or Mondays, from everything that's new and happening. And I also give some recommendations and some movie recommendations which are science fiction or which are closely related to artificial intelligence. And also I pick and choose some interesting tools that are around, that are using AI technology or that have AI technology that are not being heard of. Like this was from the last one. So you can actually subscribe for yourself. This is 100% free, and you can just see and learn more about it. And
1 second, Sir Zayon. Before we go, I'd like to remind our viewers that AI Artistry is a podcast where we explore the intersection of technology and art. And our script is curated by ChatGPT-4 and worked by Sir Zayon Ghosh. But we won't just focus on the present. We'll also explore the future of AI as a creative force. We'll ask deep questions about AI and its impact on the world of art and creativity. Can AI truly be creative? How can AI and human artists work together to create innovative new works of art? Make sure to subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts, so you don't miss an episode. And as always, thank you for listening to AI Artistry. Please go ahead and finish your outro.
Thank you, Echo. That is the podcast, as you heard from Echo, one that I created using GPT-4, and I created the voice of Echo using 11 Labs. That's also going to be out once every week on podcasts, on anywhere you listen to podcasts, on Spotify or everywhere, and anywhere that you listen to podcasts. And also, if you are interested in AI art, I have daily AI art that I post on my Instagram, which you can have a look at, where I am actually playing with different kinds of styles. And for more on my processes and understanding about the world of AI, you can also follow me on Twitter, where I'm also seeing other AI content creators and also learning for myself and creating in the process. Thank you for joining me in this video. I know this was a really long video, but this was all that was important in a nutshell about Midjourney 5 so that you can get started in your journey in Midjourney version 5. Again, Midjourney version 5 is a paid version, so if you have Midjourney, if you are one of the premium members, then you can start with it. And with that, you can check out my other videos on top over here, and you can also check out some other videos over there. And if you actually do like all of this content, you can also feel free to subscribe. And with that, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one.